Well, looks like I'm live. So, firing up Vegas and take a quick peek at what we did yesterday and then figure out what we're doing today. Okay. Okay. Guess we're into, I didn't have the preview on. So, guess we're into close-ups. Padoof. Alright, so what do we do? Sounds like Zuko's chirping at us today. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but okay, so let's probably pop the sketch layer in. Oh, now here's an interesting point. Let's go back and look at this for a minute. Yep, we need to modify this shot. Let's fire up Krita, because actually the silhouette for the Tavern Keeper is supposed to actually be coming into view, and then we cut to the close-up and his dialogue. So there's the shot. So what we'll do is we'll just add a layer up top, and then normally the way I do this is hit the G key, which is the freehand path tool, and it says it's going to fill it with foreground color. So, oh man, oh, I guess that did work. Okay. Alright, so we'll just pop this guy in there. Get that a little bigger. Okay. So then, let's take a look at this just to find out where we want to stop it. Okay, yeah, so probably about here, probably around frame 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control Insert, get rid of that keyframe. Okay, simple. Let's just take the A key. We'll do a little bit of a tween here in the sense that he sort of eases into his landing spot. And if he's not moving quickly enough, then we'll just cut out some keyframes. Okay, and then we just take this in Krita, and mirror frames actually means reverse. I don't know why they don't call it reverse, because that's really what it is. Okay, so okay, timing, probably okay. I think we'll go with it for now. Can always change our mind later, I suppose. Okay, so that takes care of that, and now we can get back to work. Okay, so I put the sketch layer on so that I won't forget what's coming up dialogue wise. So not a horrible idea here at the end of that shot to hit the tilde key, and let's just go here and insert a keyframe. So that should put a keyframe on every channel, just so I'm starting blank. Control spacebar, and then we'll take this, move it back to here, and obviously this as well, because it just so happens that this guy's already been inked. So he said, "It's a zoo. I got no time for chatter, kid. Go in and order some food or beat it." Okay, so he's... Okay, so now this is something I kind of learned a while ago with Blender. just hit the square bracket key. It selects everything downstream, so you don't have to think about lassoing everything. Just get it out of the way. We'll crank it down here to, oh, I don't know, 860-ish. And then let's set control home, set the beginning. And he says, it's a zoo. Well, I guess I need to open this up down to here. We'll just go all the way to here for kicks and giggles. Okay, that's an interesting situation. Never had that happen before. Because Blender is seeing the beginning and the end as being the same frame, it doesn't want to let me even drag this downstream, so I guess we have to go to here to do that. Ah, that's because it was playing. I didn't realize that. So we'll go to 850, I suppose. Something like that, as they used to say, indicator. Alright, so as you can see, I didn't ink the second key because I knew that I was going to be using some the sculpting tools to do that. So let's get the timing. It's a zoo. I got no time for chit-chat, kid. You know, to tell you the truth, actually, I think what feels right, I like that change there, and I'm thinking we'll switch back down here. Okay, so let's turn off the lines for a minute and just kind of see how that feels. That's a zoo. I got no time for chit-chat, kid. Go order some food or beat it. Okay, cool. So from here, I can see that this is going to really want to be moved even a little further downstream. So I'm just going to, let's just take it down to 900. And then my guess is something like that would probably feel about right. No time for chit-chat, kid. Go in and order some food or beat it. Okay, and actually this, I want to have that on beat it, because his hand's going to come up, and so let's go to this keyframe. Stay in the sketch layer. I guess we're all on the pencil right now, so wrong material there, friend. Wrong material. Should actually be the pencil test material. So let's just do a quick sketchy poo. Oh, sorry, another mistake. Well, I keep telling you guys, I never ever do anything right the first time. It's not a complaint, it's just something about life that I'm used to. And why is that still? How did I buy gum? Did I never? I thought I switched this. Okay, got the right material, got the right mode, got the right layer, got the right brush. There we go. So, anything going on out there in the world? Doesn't look like it. Nobody's here today. Interesting. That does not usually happen. But there it is. Everyone's got their own life to lead. Well, it is. What is today? Today's Wednesday, I think. Like, who's got nothing better to do than watch a live stream in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon, right? So, no shade. Y'all do need to have a life. So, we'll just put that in there in such a way that... Did he have wristbands? I don't think he did. Oh, he did have wristbands. It's the shoulder things he didn't have. To be accurate, that may be a mistake, but it's going to be a mistake I will ignore. Meaning, in this shot, yeah, I guess I had it right. Actually, he's got the wristbands and, okay, cool. I thought I made a boo-boo, but I didn't. No boo-boos for me. And where did my blender go? Okay. So yes, he's got the wristband thing going on. And cool. That's kind of weird. Oh, this is very strange. YouTube's showing me, apparently there's 3 people watching. or so. But yet the live readout, which is the bottom half of the screen, shows none. And that just changed as I'm saying that, just changed. Pretty weird. Who's hanging out? Is it Chizyapo? Is it Ross? Is it Amar? Who is it? One wonders, but is not allowed to know. Alright. So there we know what we want to do with his hand. And we already inked this. So the thing to do here would be to go ahead and color him so that we can apply the sculpting tools to everything, because there's just not a good reason to have to paint a bunch of individual frames if we don't have to. So we're going to use our vertex color material in vertex paint mode. On the fills layer, doesn't really matter what brush we use. Fill mode. And we need the Tavern Keeper, who has a very strange hair color, but there it is. Oops, and we've got a leak. Let's go ahead and plug the leak. Where is the leak? I can see one there, but that wouldn't have affected what I just did. I do not see the leak. Okay, I guess that was it. Okay, we do want to be in draw strokes on back mode so that we can... Oh man, another leak. That's okay. Boop. There we go. We'll fix up. Okay, what color is his... Oh, that's the blue. Okay. That would be the light blue. And of course, flesh tone. Okay, so do we need to put the... I think we do the lip sync last. However, we should do the shadows. Might as well do the shadows. So we want shadow filled material. We do not want it in vertex paint mode. And just get them shadows in there, friends. Actually, stop everything. I'm going to do a little bit of a sculpt on this. His nose looks a little stupid, you know, versus what it's supposed to be. That's better. I feel like I want all of that to be a little bit lower, perhaps. And don't know if that's going to fly. Actually, it is. Back to shadows. D key. He does have a little bit of a crooked face. That's a fact. Do we do this? I think not. So, who's here today? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm actually being tricked by... No. I was thinking maybe it counts, you know, one viewer with me, but I don't have the live stream open in another window, so... Okay, so this is, of course, the animation Truman shell, which is to say the huge variety of processes one engages in order to create an animated cartoon. So if you're going to create an animated cartoon, this is what you have to do. Well, there's more than one way to skin that cat. She might not do it the way I do it. And that's okay. Chizyapo, I had a feeling, dude. I had a feeling it was you. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now what we'll do is we got to turn our sketch layer back on. And we should lock it though. We want to lock the sketch layer so that the sculpting tools don't modify the sketch. Okay, so this is pretty big. Up, I'm going the wrong way. Undo. Okay, not bad. And then we'll just punch this up a little bit. This is one thing I do definitely like about Blender, is that doing this sculpting on multiple layers and whatnot is very performant. Once you get the basic drawing dialed in, it's pretty fast to make changes. Now the fact that he's not lined up perfectly with the sketch, I don't care. Couldn't care less. Notably, of course, it created keyframes in every channel. You know, it's probably okay. Doesn't really matter much. So now what we're going to do is go back here, grab this bit, and dupe it downstream to here. And then, probably all we got to do is add the lip sync. Well, and the hand. I mean, obviously we need to add the hand. So, what am I looking for? I was going to turn the sketch back off. 0. Okay, yes. So now what we want to do is, let's make this a little less choppy. Typically, for me, let me go here. Typically for me, that's like a 1 frame tween I'm looking for. You could do 2, but I think let's do 2 and see how it feels. Okay, so this is going to be on the fills, shadows, and lines. Right. And I will say, actually, let's go ahead and clean up the erroneous stuff right now. So I'm thinking it's going to start getting in the way once I start adding lip sync in particular. So the shadows layer matters. The blinks layer is actually, whoopsie, that's not what was supposed to happen. Blinks layer, eyebrows layer, eyes layer, which is actually pupils. Get rid of those. Get rid of them here. So every once in a while you got to do that. Just go back, do a little cleanup. Keep things clean-ish. Mouth layer obviously needs to be cleaned out. Lines, fills, background placeholder is not being used. Okay. So now the tween. Let's go to D for draw mode. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. I think I accidentally nicked the corner of my tablet screen with my mouse. Okay, so shadows layer, hit the D key, and then just Control-Shift-E, Control-Shift-E, Control-Shift-E. Okay, let's make sure that feels all right. Not too slow. Yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll do the opposite, but only a 1 frame tween here, because he is being rather abrupt with Melchizedek. So okay, turn this back on for just a second. It's a zoo. I got no time for chit chat, kid. Go in and order some food or beat it. Okay, so that's really, it's almost too quick, actually. I mean, dyslexia moment, almost too slow. Here, when he switches back. It says, zoo, I got no time for chit chat, kid. Go in and order some food or beat it. Actually, I'm rethinking this now. I think I want to move this downstream. Okay. Well, we need to get the I'm going to put this in this layer, the layer I call utility character stuff. So let's turn on the sketch, and that's what we're looking for. Actually, let's just ink it on this layer. We'll go ahead and hit the tilde key, and we'll ink it, and then we can move it to wherever we want, and also move it to whatever frame we want. Right? So this is a little bit of a deviation from the normal, because what I'm going to do is ink this and color it on the same layer, so that I can just take that layer and move it around to animate his, you know, his thumb. I just detected a mistake. Okay, so let's go back to the sketch layer. My bad, friends. What is my bad that I'm referring to? Well, he is outside the tavern facing the doorway, so why would he put his thumb, why would he be thumbing behind him? He should be pointing in the opposite direction. Dave, how do you manage to forget these things? How do you do it? It's incredible. This is wrong. So let's just do it over. Okay, so I'm going to say let's say the meat of his hand would be here. Okay. Thumb would be out here. Over. Something more like that is what we're wanting to do. Going to the front view, flipping the screen. Just to get a clean perspective. One thing I have been learning is, when in doubt, if you don't totally like have your bearings on what you're trying to do, fall back on just drawing. Go back into sketch mode and just work it out. Work out what you're trying to do, and then go back to ink and paint. Otherwise, well, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. If things are too finished too soon, especially if you're trying to leverage, like you inked and painted this earlier, and now you want to reuse it, you don't want to have to like redo everything kind of thing. That can be a bit dangerous in that, whoopsie, that's not what I meant to do. At least for me, other people may not have this issue, but is that you kind of feel locked in and constrained by the, you know, what's already there on the screen that you don't want to throw away. That's the basic gist of it. So anyway, let's go back to the utility character stuff layer. D key. We're doing charcoal ink, and there's that bug we talked about yesterday. We can use the pencil for it as long as the strength does not have pressure sensitivity, because if it has pressure sensitivity, you're not going to get uniform black lines. So by doing it that way, I can keep using the pencil. I don't have to switch to a different brush. Now this, I don't know if I'm totally loving the 12 pixels, but we'll stick with it because that's what I know that's what I was using for the rest of the shot. So little late to be switching now. So what's going on? Chizapa, what are you working on, man? What's going on? What do you got going? So you haven't really talked too much here about what you're working on. At least if you have, I don't remember. But then again, I have to offer this little caveat today, because I told Valerie, I said, baby, it's finally happened. I'm officially old. She kind of laughs and, well, what are you talking about? Well, sat down to start working on the cartoon. And I'm like, where are my glasses? My blue, my blue filter glasses. Very important if you're spending a lot of time in front of screens. Well, they're not here. Well, maybe I left them in the office. So I go in the office. Well, there's my other pair. So there is a pair here, but then I realized they were on my freaking head. Oops. Sir, you turned off the wrong layer. Okay, utility character stuff. So, what we're going to do is switch now to vertex colors. Come on now. Blender. Switch to vertex paint mode. And Tavern Keeper. So we go with fill. This might leak. Nope, I can't believe it. Nice. Okay, there's that. And then his bands are the darker blue. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is going to be a little different. First of all, we want to not be drawing on the back, because what I need to do now is I need to bake shadows into this little layer here, just because that's the way I want to do it. So I'm going to switch back to material mode, and I'm not going to have the benefit of, well, I mean, technically I could. Nah, I mean, the shadow layer is masked. I'm not going to deal with the mask right now. I'm just going to draw into it. So, okay, that's a little problematic because I forgot that the shadow layer, okay. Well, the world will keep on turning. I'm going to rethink that and go ahead and just do it in the shadow layer. So, interestingly, this brings up an interesting problem that I haven't bumped into before now, which is that the shadow layer really should be on top of everything. Actually, that's not true. I can leave that there because all I have to do is change this so that it's also being masked by the background placeholder. That should do the trick. So shadows layer. Something is still wrong here because when I'm drawing, nothing's happening. I am in the shadow layer. Yeah, see, this is going to become a problem, actually. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of infrastructure work here for half a second because it's a little bit of a clunky problem to have, but let me just think about this for a minute. I know. I'm going to do the shadows in Krita. I'm not going to bother with them. That solves everything. Yeah, the problem is I don't really want to be like making little mods to the shadows and the stuff that's all rigged completely for every other shot I've done. There's no point changing that just for this shot. So all we're trying to get at here is being able to have the hand in its own layer so we can just animate it separately, and that's all there is to it. So back to isolating that layer. Okay, so what we're going to do is assume this is kind of the midpoint of the action. I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to select this and hit L. The reason I didn't select it all is I didn't want to accidentally grab a bit of this. I don't think I can actually, since the layer is isolated. But okay, so the high point would be here, and now we're going to just basically just animate it a little bit. moving and rotating. Obviously, I could put the cursor here so that it actually angles when it rotates on the correct, from the correct pivot point, but not that big of a deal. So if this now is tripled, let's just see how that feels. Yep, perfect. Okay, so then once he does that, bah, we can always change the timing. Obviously, if this is happening too soon, it turns out, that's fine. We'll just adjust. Feel like it wants to rotate a bit. So let's go back one frame and yeah, okay, that's cool. Go. You know, this should all take place pretty quickly. Okay, so now we can go back here. And I mean, honestly, actually, I just solved the what I had to do next. I really just did and didn't even realize it, which is to go back here. But then let's take these keys that are selected, hit the S key to scale the keys, and actually just do this. Just reverse them. Groovy. Let's see how it feels. Okay, I feel like it's too slow. We'll get rid of that, make it tighter. Get rid of that, make it tighter. Okay, cool. Now we can go to his mouth. Mouth layer. Okay, so as usual, we're doing anime style lip sync because, as you guys know, working on something, but you want to start next month. Explore 3D this time around. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's why you've been looking at Blender then, right? I assume. Poking around in Blender land. So let me get this guy's dialogue. Tavern entryway. He says, "It's a zoo. I got no time for chit chat. Go in and order some food or beat it." Okay, so he's supposed to say, "Chit chat, kid." So fortunately, this program that I wrote last weekend, not the week, it was a week ago on the weekend. Was it? Wait, today's Wednesday. That's all a blur, man. But anyway, I wrote a cloud-based program to be a screenplay editor. So I don't have to log in or anything. This is what I actually like about it the best, is when I have a change like this, I just added the word kid. I just click, type the change, hit save, and it's just boom, everything's instant. I like it. I like it. Cloud-based screenwriter. Okay, so he says it's a zoo. So we'll give him, I think with the mouth, what I've been doing, let me hit the D key and get back to this. So have I been using charcoal ink filled? Technically I could use the shadow filled because it's also a solid black color. But the mouth layer is, it's about 3/4 opaque. So whatever I do, it's going to pick up a little bit of the flesh tone underneath. So I'm going to just do that. And then we'll give him 2-3 frames to figure out what he's going to say. And so then we're doing anime style. So that means big mouth, medium, back to big, back to almost closed. And now we've got a 4-key pattern that we can reuse. It's a zoo. Okay, so that's a little bit too quick. So, okay, so now here, now we got to do a little bit of sculpting, obviously. So that would be the E key. Just a little change. Keep everything lined up okay. Now, we're going to take these four. Well, wait, we can't do that. I got to redo them. I forgot because they're in a different position now. Now, yesterday I did address that, just so you know. Of course, we can. We could reuse them and then use multi. I probably should show that, actually. Why don't I show that? Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. You got these four keys that I want to reuse for lip sync, but the problem I have is that they're in the wrong position now. So these keys are already selected, therefore I go into multi-frame mode, and this actually adjusts all four keyframes at the same time. Super cool. Okay, other than I don't know why that one didn't adjust accordingly, but that's alright. Now we'll go, I'm gonna think maybe 3 times through would be about right. So, I got no time to chit-chat, kid. So we actually need 4. I got no time to chit-chat, kid. Okay, and everything's too, that really looks pretty bad. It's interesting. What do we got here? Well, that explains it. This is actually the wrong pattern. I must have grabbed the wrong, it's because I didn't grab this key. Forget it. Let's just redraw them right now. Just because. Just because. Okay, let's see if that works better. 1, 2, how many did we do? Did we do 4 cycles before? I got no time to chit-chat, kid. Okay, that'll work. It's a little long. Chit-chat, kid. So he's going to say, well, okay, so he's going to say, now obviously this is going to get whacked out of shape because of the turn. Well, not too bad, actually. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is go right here. That's almost okay. So I'm going to grab these right here in multi-frame mode and just adjust a little bit. And that should do the trick. It's a zoo. I got no time for chit-chat, kid. Go order some food or beat it. Perfect. Go in and order some food or beat it. So I'm going to say go in and order some food. I'm going to take these keys and just move them 2 frames downstream. Go in and order some food or beat it. Cool. That's it, friends. Render. As I say, we'll add the shadow on his hand in Krita. No big deal. Okay, yeah, that's why I've been on Blender, trying to see if I can use the story pencil and see if I can seamlessly transition with the actual 3D shots. Okay, yeah, should be. Let us know how it goes. You can always post your work in progress on the Discord or whatever. Okay, so now this, well, we did this shot before. Let's find it. And by the way, this needs to be saved. I'm waiting for Vegas to wake up so I can look at the earlier shots. And what we're looking for is this. That background right there. Okay, so that was obviously the back half of G. So let's go here and let's open up G. Okay, and obviously what we're interested in starts here. So let's open this up. Grab that whole region. And what we're going to do is I'm not going to hit Control-Shift-X to delete them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do remove frame and pull. So that basically ripple edits the whole shot. And now we can take the tavern keeper, actually delete all of his keyframes. Well, let's just delete the layer, I guess. Tavern keeper here, let me look at this for half a second. We've got these color correction bits, so let's get rid of that. And just import the animation frames, and then we'll go from there and figure out what we've got. So, boom, boom. 80? Seems long. Oh. Right. I rendered too much. Well, shame on me. So I'm going to do the same thing I did a minute ago. I'm going to grab these keys and just do remove frame and pull. Now we can take this, which is actually the tavern keeper, and we'll change the name of this layer to, I guess we can't do it over there. As you can see here, we've got some, oh, I see what Krita's doing. It's creating the thumbnail from the keyframes that I just got rid of. So I'm just going to change this to CHAR, which means character, and then smack this. Come on, Krita, wake up. Doesn't want to let me. Okay. Interface. It's the bane of my life. Okay, there we go. So now these bits are all, of course, completely wrong. But we do want the layers because we're going to wind up using them probably. This, it's not exactly right, but it's the right idea. So we'll start naming these layers a little more intelligently. Okay, so this is going to be file, save as, H. So this is going to be new folder 03-92.h. Oops. How the heck did I do that? I'm not sure what I just did there. Okay, I want to, oh, and that got saved in there. Okay, so I have a bit of a problem. Okay, so this is H. Okay, so this would be I. Well, that explains it. But what's bugging me is why is this saved in the root of the scenes folder? Every once in a while you bump into something a little winky. Yeah, this probably can't be moved since it's currently open. So let's close that. Go here. This file is supposed to be in there, which really makes me, well, okay, yeah, that's right. So it's saved in the wrong place, but the render settings must have been correct or it wouldn't have rendered it to there, so we're good. All right, so we just need this to be file, save as, new folder, 0392i. Little mundane stuff you got to do. Okay, and then this is going to be, obviously, I. This is going to be I. And it's rendering 80 frames, which is a little ridiculous. Let's go back to Blender and just see what we've got here. We're going from 825 to 880, so what is that, 55 frames? If I'm doing my math correctly in my head. So, just for kicks and giggles, we'll do 60. Better to have too many than too few, because if I bring it into Vegas with too few frames and find I need to add some, then I have to completely delete it out of Vegas and re-add it back in. Kind of reminds me of how happy I was when Tahoma2D finally allowed grouping columns into folders. Okay, do you think Krita animation will get nested animation timeline functions? I mean, honestly, to me that's kind of a non-question, because you do have all, you know, any unlimited amount of nesting you know, here. So yes, they're not really reflected over here in terms of being like indented, but the nesting and the grouping is about as powerful and flexible as any program, really. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. This can stay. The Mel silhouette, actually, I can leave in there. The water we can get rid of. That's probably the other background painting. And this, okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's right, because I put it out of focus. I wonder what happens if I bake this down. Yep, that's cool. I can live with that. Save your work. All right. Now, he is in the correct location. That layer is. So yeah, my opinion would be it might be nice, you know, as a visual aid, but generally, like you notice earlier, I mentioned that, hey, by the way, you cannot double click on this name and change the name. You have to do it over here. So when you're animating in Krita, your kind of mindset is anything that involves seriously manipulating the groupings of things and whatnot, you're doing over here. Over here, this is just so I can see what frame I'm on, or what layer. That's really it. And plus, I will say, kind of in defense of the Krita developers, whom I'm often very critical of course, I can kind of see the point, because a lot of times you might have a fairly complex rig over here, rig meaning how the scene is structured, where, and yet you only want maybe a couple frames here in the timeline. What's more glaringly absent from Krita for me, actually, maybe Krita can do this. I'm not sure. Can Krita? I'm going, you know, I'm spinning out the side door for no good reason here. But the question is, does Krita have the ability to only show the currently active layer in the timeline? I think it does, because I seem to remember that, even though I never use it. And I can kind of see the point of that too, because it reminds you that what you're doing here is animation stuff. If you're thinking about scene structure and organization, you shouldn't be looking here. No, you should be looking here. And of course, one thing I've never done, and maybe somebody else has done this, is some people, in terms of visuals and if they have enough screen real estate, would actually think, why don't we take this panel and actually just put it here to the left of the timeline? Now the problem then would be, of course, that what you see here and what you see here don't actually line up perfectly, so it could actually become confusing, I suppose. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just spitballing here. Let's hit the insert key. I said hit the insert key. Thank you. Okay, and then we want to use our airbrush, and we want our nice little orangey orange here, and we want our little bluey blue here, just to kind of punch up the saturation and whatnot. Oops, wrong. This is quite expendable, honestly. I don't know that it's helping. A little bit's probably okay. Okay. Speaking of grouping, to Chiziapo's point, right here. Okay, so potentially we're going to kind of sort of have a problem, but anyway, getting back to what I was saying, let's do it this way. Here's the guy. Let's create a layer above the guy. I guess it doesn't do us any good to move those keyframes over there. Actually, I'd have to do it frame by frame since they're baked together. So forget that idea. I'm going to just turn this off for now. Basically, what I'm getting around here too is that after I'm all done, I'll probably put a transform mask on the entire Tavern Keeper group so that I can take this whole guy and shift him kind of split the difference where the side of his head would be more like here instead of here so that we can see his hand. And if that becomes even a bit of a problem, obviously we've got the option to just move Mel over a little bit too. In fact, I think I'm going to do that no matter what. So let's put Mel there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to add another layer, but this layer is going to be masked to the layer below. And this is going to be, we'll just call it what it is, which is hand shadow. Okay, so we'll turn Mel off for now. We will, oops, let's hit the B key. Probably use the old Conan brush. And no need to be too picky about it. We'll just smack this in here. And then we will adjust it so it pretty much looks about the same as the other shadows. Right about there. Looks pretty good. Control insert to add a keyframe. This one should probably be deleted even though technically you can't see it because the stuff that it's masked against isn't there. If that doesn't make sense to you, don't sweat it, people. The world will keep turning. Alright. Okay, now wait a second. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Boy, I don't like that. Obviously, that's a little chimpy, the anatomy and the way it works. Like, there should probably be a little more activity in his shoulder. But what I'm looking at right now is the fact that, let's play it at full speed and see what happens. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I want a bit of a lead-in frame. I don't know how I missed that, but we're going to do it like this. Just grab that, Control C, we'll go back one frame, hit Control Shift V, which puts it in the same layer, and then, like I said, I thought I kind of did this, but alright, and now I'm going to hit Control C again, go back one more frame, Control Shift V. Oh, come on, really? Seriously, Krita. You obviously don't understand what I was intending to do. Okay, so we'll just kind of pop that up there like that. Okay, so now we can just go back to frame by frame. We'll smack in our shadows and make it work. 1, 2. Okay, right here. I am going to erase that little anomaly around his thumb. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so here. Now, can we get away with doing it this way? Well, there'd be a little bit of a rotation and a move. Okay, is this the same as this? No, it is not. So we can do the same thing. Obviously, it would be almost as quick just to repaint it. Obviously. Okay, so now these are all, this repeats 3 times as I recall. So boom, boom, boom. Yep. Yeah, and there you go. Actually, this is where I curse this feature all the time, but actually in this case it's kind of useful. The fact that if you grab a selection, Krita uses that as the start and end point. Okay, why are we... This is a little strange. I want to stop for a second here. Really, it really does show what a bad idea it was to... You know what I'm going to do? Actually... think I'm going to just render this hand separately. The shadow layer, well, bear with me, folks. Let me just think about this for a minute. What I'm sort of complaining about is I feel like I introduced this timing change that's a little off. I'm not quite sure how I managed it. Because when I look at it in Blender, it pretty much does exactly what I intended. When I see it in Krita, and I'm not quite happy with it. It pops up quickly, and then he kind of, you know, there's a 1 or 2 frame pause before he starts pointing, but I guess it's because I added those extra frames. Maybe I was better off to leave it the way it was. Let's notice something here. Here, he's not talking. Here, he's not talking. And on these 2 frames, he's not talking. You know what that means? That means that I can take these frames, these 4 frames actually, and I can just shift them. Because this frame is just a hold anyway. And this one, he is talking. So on this frame, we'll just erase this. Is this making sense, people? Okay. Hit the E key there, Dave, so you're in erase mode. Okay. That should have done the trick. Yeah, works for me. Okay, so we got that, and then we've got to get the hand back out of there. So back to the shadow layer. As I say, it would probably be just as quick to, well, nah, it wouldn't be just as quick. It would be close to just as quick to just repaint it, but there it is. Okay, so I think we're done actually. I'm gonna get Mel's silhouette back in there. So, not my finest moment in terms of the body weight shift. And the problem is, if I change something, oh hell, I can't resist. Alright, I'm going to save this scene, then I'm going to start doing a little bit of liquefying here. Okay, so A key, liquefy. Come on. So what I'm wanting to do is just a little shift here. It doesn't have to be that great of a shift. Okay, so now that may have wrecked the scene. If it did, I'll just reload it, since that's why I saved it a moment ago. Yeah, it didn't work at all. Did not work at all. Well, what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is when you've got a character, especially if you're going to be using sculpting tools to shift their body weight and stuff like that, what I should have done, and this scene's going to be fine without it, especially because this is all occluded by the fact that Melchizedek is in the shot. But what I should have done is back here, rendered the guy, not render the hand, just make the hand layer invisible, and then render that out all by itself. Then everything here that I'm struggling with would be easy peasy, you know. So okay, so now we're gonna take we're gonna add a transform mask to the entire Tavern Keeper. We're not animating it or anything. We're just gonna hit the A key and take him and just shift him over. That's all. That's the whole story. Now, do we want to go this far? Probably that's about where we want to be. Let's just see how it plays. Happily, Krita's still pretty performant. Okay, I'm going to run with that for the moment. I've got this set correctly. I do. So let's get it in the show and see what we've got. We probably need to add a rim light too, actually, come to think of it. So, transform mask. Well, okay, now this is where it gets a little complicated, friends. I can add the rim light directly. Why? Well, because the whole shot is being modified by the transform mask. But if I bake down the transform mask, it's going to bake the whole group, which is kind of not what we want. So what I need to do is add the rim light with the transform mask turned off, and then, after I've got the rim light in there, turn it back on. Making sense? B key. Whoops, wrong brush there, Jack. Yeah, boy, those rim lights really make a difference, although I added too much there. Okay, rim light. Control, insert. Wait a minute. Undo. Undo. Okay, I'm pausing for a moment to look at where I went wrong here, because something's wrong. Oh, I see. It's way down here. Oh my gosh, how stupid. Alright, let's go back here. Copy that to there. Well, there you go. Make darn sure you're on the correct frame when you start tweaking stuff. Okay. So right here, this is we're in the territory where having done more in Blender would have probably been a better idea, because as you can see, when it comes to updating in real time the animation, Krita is just north of daft. Like, the one thing you can't do is just scrub and expect your animation to play back, which of course is comically ridiculous. Comically ridiculous, my friends. Comically ridiculous. Okay, we'll go with that for the moment. We'll just keep kind of feeling it out. And if it starts to fall apart, we'll just start painting again. No big deal. Okay, we don't really want that like that. Right there. Boom. Little rotation. And then kind of push it. Little rotation. Push it. Okay, that's it. Save it. Render. Put it in the show. Keep moving forward. Okay, so what we got here? Cheese Yapo and Awkward Penguin's here. Hey, Awkward Penguin. Good to see you. We are busy. Busy. All right, let's jump over to Vegas. And what time is it? 2:37. So we want shot 92i, which is an image sequence. It will play at 8 frames per second. Drag that sucker in there. Turn off the resampling. And let's just give it a looky-poo and see if we like what we see. Get out of the way, kid. Wow. Busy today, huh? It's a zoo. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Let's go back to Krita. And why is Krita non-responsive? I have no idea. I'm going to turn off the preview. Okay, there's Krita. Okay, there was something. Oh, I see. Yes, this was supposed to be there. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn this back on. Duh, no wonder. I'm like, I know something's wrong here. Well, friends, this is what happens when you just have too doggone much to keep track of. And that little jerky anomaly right there you saw was because Krita's underlying code has some to this day still has some bugs where the animation cache doesn't like flush. Like there you saw it again. It won't render that way because that's not actually the, what do I want to say, the scene, the Krita file does not have that anomaly in it. It just, like right there it was again. It just plays back stupid because whatever the code is that manages the memory buffers that the various layers reside in is little buggy, friends. Okay, so let's re-render it, and I think we're in good shape for the rest, for the scene. Kind of a long shot, actually. What is it? It's a 10-second shot. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I know what it was. I forgot something. Okay. Okay. There's actually, okay. So when I drew the hand with the thumb, that is actually supposed to be in there. I am a fool. Well, since this is a 10-second long shot, let's go ahead and modify it accordingly. Let's just go ahead and take, we'll leave the hand shadow layer as it is. And we'll just create a new layer for hand. And let's turn the background off. Let's turn Melchizedek off. Let's turn the transform mask off. And we're just going to do it here in Krita. Because he's supposed to go, either go in and order some food or beat it. And so right here, what we really want is, let's go ahead and hit insert. And we'll go a couple frames ahead because we're going to draw the finished pose or position of his hand with the thumb. And then go, work it backwards since it's coming in from off screen. If that doesn't quite make perfect sense to you, again, don't sweat it too much. So I'm going to go on this layer, hit the insert key, and what I'm going to do is just do a quick and dirty pencil test. So B key, just go black. Let's just quickly go back to what we used to have in Blender. You may find it baffling that someone could be so deep into a project like this and forget these kinds of details, but man, I tell you, it's a lot to keep track of. That's part of the challenge of creating a show or a movie or whatever. And I've done enough of it to know that tracking your logistics is it's an important skill, and mistakes will be made, absolutely no question about it. Okay, so let's take this and actually raise it up. Let's go like that, I think. Whoopsie. Hotkey problem. I hit D instead of B because I've been in Blender so much. Okay. So this is going to be this guy. So this is just a pencil test layer as a guide. And then let's go with that. Brush. We'll just knock it out here in Krita. Sometimes you gotta adjust the plan a little bit. And as I like to say, the world will keep turning. Yeah, this is only going to take a minute. Okay, this layer can be deleted. Well, yeah, except I forgot to draw the thumb, which technically I suppose I don't really need the guide for, but in the interest of being anal and keeping things complete, let's do it that way. Kill that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to steal, turn off all these layers that modify the color. Okay, on the hand layer, we're going to go into behind mode. So Shift Alt Q, sample his skin color, hit the fill tool. Why are we still seeing shadows? That needs to be taken out. That. And this color is not going to actually be exact, but we're gonna go with something that's pretty close. Actually, let me redo that. It's a little too saturated. That looks about right. Okay, and then we're going to take and we're going to do some shadows, but we're going to do them kind of a different way. So the shadow layer is typically, what are we doing, 17%? Okay, so we're going to the hand layer. So when you want to bake everything into a single layer, this is one way to do it. Of course, you could do it on separate layers and then, merge them. But for now, I'm just going to go into normal mode, and I'm going to hit this so that my actual brush is being alpha locked. B key. Okay? The main trick with this is that you set this to 17, so it's going to match the other shadows, right? Okay? But you can't lift up your pen. If you lift up your pen in the middle of this, then the shadows will start to double up on themselves because the transparency or the opacity is being added at the stroke level, if you will. Not really the way Krita keeps track of it, but so in other words, if I went like that, see what it does? They get darker. If the transparency is in a layer, you don't have that problem. But if your transparency is in your brush, then you need to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so there's that. Just for kicks and giggles, let's go ahead and, okay, that's not going to be strong enough. Let's crank this up a bit and see if it looks okay. Yeah, I mean, this is okay. Let's just do that. Okay, so now this layer is completely standalone, and setting everything back to normal. And now what we do is we start working backwards. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this keyframe 3 times, hit the A key, okay, so that gets his hand up there. And this I'm not totally happy with. This actually, I want to, yeah, that's right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I'll save my work just to play it safe. Pop this up here, get all these back in, turn on the transform mask, put Mel back in, put in the background, and let's see what we've got. It's a zoo. I got no time to chit-chat, kid. Go in there and order some food, or beat it. Perfect. It's perfect. Excellent. Okay, rock and roll. 10 seconds of show. I've been live streaming for, oh my gosh, let's see. I've been live streaming for an hour and 13 minutes. So 10 seconds of an animated cartoon in a little over an hour. Dude. That's hard to compete with. You want some company, Val? Did you hear me? Said you want some company? Well, guys, that means since I got this shot done, and I'm gonna go hang out with my woman for half a sec. That I am going to call it good for this session. I may be back later today. We'll see. I'm gonna actually, there's a little bit of a flaw at the top of his head that I want to fix, so let's just pop that up there. Re-render. Well, actually, no. Let's not re-render. Let's save. Save. Thanks, Awkward Penguin. You've been running into similar issues in my comic. I've always had issues with directions, though. Always had issues with directions though. Not sure I understand that comment, but I have issues with directions when it comes to left and right and up and down because of dyslexia. But that's a characteristic I share in common with one of my heroes, Stephen J. Cannell. Okay, let's make sure it looks okay and then we'll call it good. So, chit chat, and they are in order some food or beat it. Perfect. Cool beans. That's it. I may be back later. We'll see. But for now, that's it. All right, you guys. As you know, there will be more later.